What's up, Huskies? Welcome back to episode 6 of On the Big Screen. My name is Sophia Azevedo,
And my name is Ben Parmalee.
and today we'll be talking about the movie Hopper.
Hoppers is a 2026 Pixar animated film about an animal lover who uses new technology to transfer her consciousness into a robotic beaver, leading to an animal kingdom uprising against a human threat. So, what did you think about it?
I definitely thought it was really funny when this is the first thing that came to mind, but I thought it was really funny when the animals saw this girl and the beaver saying, we need to protect our home, like, the humans are invading it, and then they took that and immediately jumped to, let's kill all the humans, like, the humans need to go, and it just went from point A to point Z.
Yeah, overall, it was a funny movie, lots of jokes and stuff in there, but then it was, kind of strange when it goes from all these lighthearted moments, whatever, it's a kid movie, and then they have, really dramatic moments where the main character is always, breaking down and crying. It just feels out of place. And I know just because it's a kid movie doesn't mean it has to be all fun and games, but it's just from 100 to 0, just super silly to super dramatic. And it was whoa.
I know they kept bringing up her dead grandma and her little, speech about just sit back and listen to the nature. Like, we're part of something big. And just in the most random times in the movie, you would get the same flashback of her and her grandma. And I'm sitting here
And then each scene is just her with her head down, just crying about it.
I think it was definitely, for lack of a better word, like a choppy movie.
Yeah, rest in peace, grandma, but it definitely messed up the flow of the movie.
How do you think the film did with conveying their whole environmental activism point?
I think it did a good job, but it's just strange seeing a piece of media advocate for environmentalism and all this pro-animal stuff when it's a big budget movie and the amount of resources and electricity it probably took to produce offsets whatever message this kind of gives.
I actually didn't think about that, about what it takes to create an animated movie. It felt I know a movie's goal is to, if you present a problem, then the whole point of the movie is to solve that problem. But it kind of felt like the movie was pointless because at the end, they went through this whole, almost wrecked that whole area because of all I want to say war, but it wasn't war, but this whole thing went down. They ruined the land because of the trouble they went through to save it. And then in the end, nothing really changed. There was some character development, but it wasn't really, felt like you went through all of that for very little.
Because at the very end, the animals end up saving the environment, not the humans. So the humans learn nothing, and they're probably still going to end up destroying the environment later.
I agree, though, because the animals, not only did they save their own environment in the end, but they saved it from something that a human caused. Nothing tied together with the movie, which I think you're right, it's a kid's movie. Kids don't have that thinking capacity when they're watching it. They see a cool bear and a cool beaver, and they go home and they're like, that was such a great movie. So I think for that, I think it did its job.
Yeah, but speaking about going home with those thoughts, I honestly forgot this movie 24 hours past seeing it. It's genuinely, this is my opinion, it's just content for your kids and for any parents that are watching it with the kids. It's nothing more, nothing less. I think it did a good job being 2 hours of content for kids, but seeing it in a different way is just pointless because that's all it really is.
I also wanted to bring up the fact that because this is a Disney film, I think it's definitely noticeable how all of the recent Disney films and their animation styles and the words and literally everything about them are so similar to each other, and it really vastly differs from the old magic of Disney.
Yeah, you see other films, other industries making animated films like Spider-Verse where they have their own unique style. And then, in a way, everyone started copying Spider-Verse by making their own unique styles, but they all kind of lead back to Spider-Verse. Unlike Pixar and Disney, which is just literally doing the same thing over and over and over again.
I was literally just thinking about the Spider-Verse. I think I'm so eternally grateful that Sony owns Spider-Man. I think you can't possibly compare those two when it comes to what's better, because the animation and plot and writing and everything of those movies is just infinitely better because they're also not really aimed towards kids.
I was really hoping to go into this movie expecting it to be okay, let's have as much depth as Spider-Verse, but I don't even know why I thought that was going to happen. Hoppers.
No, but it's because we still have that expectation from how Disney used to do things. They used to have those movies that really left a feeling in you, whether it was good or bad.
All the old Pixar movies, all those movies are great. You can still watch them no matter how old you are, and you'll still love them.
Yeah, and I think they always push past the golden number of a trilogy. They always make these good movies, and then there's a shift in the generation, and they could choose to stop, but they choose to keep making more sequels just to, I don't know, push it to the next generation. But in the end, they kind of end up messing it up.
However, I am glad that this is an original script. Usually we do just see sequels come out, and it's just the same thing, but I'm glad that Pixar decided to make a new film, and it wasn't terrible.
I would say the animation of this movie reminded me a lot of Turning Red. Like it looked exactly like Turning Red, especially with the main character. And I was wondering if you saw that too.
I haven't seen Turning Red, but from what I remember from like the promotional material and maybe like trailers, definitely it's copy paste almost exactly. However, I thought the animation, just like on a craftsmanship level, was good. Like they had multiple scenes where it's just nature. You see like a pond, like dragonflies going across the pond or other animals walking, grazing, whatever. And I think it was really beautiful. They definitely did a good job. It doesn't look bad, but it's just unoriginal.
I was going to ask, like, do you think that an animated film, not even this one, like just thinking in general, an animated film can ever convey as much emotion as a live action film?
From a plot perspective, they can match each other. However, from like a human performance, like if you want to see someone giving a dramatic performance, you can never get that from an animated figure, but a real human being can convey more emotions than a drawing can.
Yes, it's animated because it's a kids movie, but I think if it would be a better movie if it was an actual like live action with real people and not just for the sake of, oh, a cute kids movie. I feel like the plot was lost because the goal of the movie wasn't really to make the point about environment activism. It was to make a movie that would make money because families would go see it with their kids.
Yeah, I feel like a robotic beaver isn't exactly the best vehicle for environmental activism. I would say that the target audience for this movie is definitely children who have an interest in animals. They just think animals are cool rather than children who think that they're going to save the environment. So I don't really think that this movie's message is going to really be fulfilled.
At the end, the entire forest was almost burnt to a crisp. A lot of it was. So if you're going in there as a kid wanting to save the environment and you see the environment get obliterated, it's like, I definitely agree it doesn't send the right message.
And also about the ending, there was a character who went through a certain transformation at the end, and I swear I was scared in that theater. And I was wondering for all the little children behind me, because I was in the front row. There was the packed theater. This creature, this design was freaky. I was genuinely like, whoa, this is a kid's movie, but hopefully I'm just crazy and no other kids are crying over this.
It kind of reminded me of Monsters, Inc. when you had those dummies that shot out of the bed. Like, that low-key kind of scared me.
Maybe this is too much of a spoiler, but it reminded me of Terminator.
Me and my friend were sitting there, like, kind of looking at this, like, a little bit uncomfortable, and we're, like, both grown adults. So it was really a little bit scary. But after all of that, do you think that this movie is worth seeing in the theaters?
No. Sorry, it's just see it at your house on the TV streaming website with your kids while you're in the background do something else, but don't sit down 2 hours of your time and pay for it in the theater. Just don't do that.
I 100% agree. I think you pay to go to the movies for an experience, and this is definitely in no way an experience. It's not immersive at all. So I would definitely agree. Just watch it on a tablet at home, like weeks later when it comes out on streaming. But what would you rate it out of 5?
Out of 5, 2.5, just right down the middle. Just content, really.
Okay, I think so too. Probably a 2, honestly. But yeah, I agree.
All right, we'll catch you on the next episode. Bye, Huskies.